People say they visited this website once and never went back, not because it was scary, but because it showed them information they never typed, never shared, and never gave permission for. And the most unsettling part? The site still exists. The website didn't go viral. There was no big launch, no trending tweet. It spread quietly, mostly through short forum posts, buried Reddit comments, replies that looked like warnings more than recommendations. People described the same experience. They clicked the site out of curiosity. The page loaded instantly. No login, no permissions requested, just text. At first, it looked harmless. A sentence at the top of the page, "We know why you're here." Below it, details, not names, not passwords, but things that felt personal, things the user recognized. Different users reported different content, but the pattern was consistent. The site would display their approximate location, sometimes down to the neighborhood. The device they were using, the time zone, browser, and operating system. That part wasn't shocking. Plenty of websites do that. But then, it went further. Some users claimed the site showed recently visited websites, the time of day they usually go online. A short sentence describing their current mood, not exact words, but close enough to feel intentional. Examples reported, "You're here because you couldn't sleep. You're avoiding something important. You came here out of boredom, not curiosity." No input fields, no questions asked, just statements. And for many users, they felt uncomfortably accurate. The comments were divided. Some people dismissed it immediately. They said, "It's just clever wording." Generic statements anyone could relate to psychological tricks. Others weren't convinced. They pointed out something strange. The statements weren't vague enough to be random, and they weren't broad enough to apply to everyone. A few users tested it. They opened the site on different devices using VPNs. In private browsing mode, the content changed, but stayed relevant. Some users reported that the site, updated when they refreshed, changed tone depending on the time of day, became more specific the longer they stayed. That's when the post stopped sounding curious and started sounding uneasy. There are logical explanations. Websites can access IP-based location, browser fingerprints, screen resolution, installed fonts, time-based behavior patterns. Combined together, this creates something called a fingerprint, a surprisingly accurate one. Some developers explain that with enough signals and predictive language, you can create the illusion of knowing someone, especially if the user is already anxious or browsing late at night or reading mystery content. But here's the problem. Several users claimed the site referenced things they had done earlier that same day, topics they had searched only once, actions that hadn't happened recently enough to be cached. No proof, no screenshots that confirmed it definitively, just consistency across unrelated users. What made the site unsettling wasn't the data, it was the tone. The site never asked for interaction, never tried to scare people, never explained itself, and it never repeated the same message twice. Some users reported that staying too long caused the text to stop updating. Refreshing too often made the page blank. Returning days later showed entirely different content. One comment stood out. A user said, "It felt like the site noticed I was paying attention and stopped." After that comment, the thread was locked. No official explanation, no debunking post. The site stayed online, quiet, unadvertised, unchanged. The website still exists. It hasn't been shut down, it hasn't gone viral, and it hasn't been proven dangerous. Some people still visit it out of curiosity. Most leave within seconds, because even if everything on the page can be explained, it doesn't feel like it can. The unsettling part isn't what the website shows. It's the realization that modern systems don't need your permission to understand you. And sometimes, being understood feels worse than being watched.